This is called as the desired and the desirable. Two words in English, the desired, what we desire, and the desirable, what is good for us. So we constantly keep desiring, God give me this, God give me this, God give me this. Some of those things are undesirable for us. So God gives only that which is desired and desirable. He doesn't give that which is desired and undesirable. Cosmic intelligence. We need not say God is God, sitting in heaven and giving punishment. Whoever does good gets, whoever does bad gets. No, nothing like that. It is absolutely scientific. It is absolutely rational. You do something, you get result. You don't do it, you don't get a result. That is why today all over the world, they are saying that the most scientific theology, the most scientific religious philosophy is the karma philosophy. They are saying it. Not, that God gives what you don't deserve or anything. It is an entire picture of cause and effect. Like Newton's law, equal and opposite reaction. These are the kind of things which we start getting faith in when we have this faith. That I am doing my best. That is how the entire Bhagavad Gita begins, you remember? Just like us, this young man throws off all the weapons and says, no, I can't fight, This is horrible. How can I fight my seniors, my teachers, my cousins, my guru, my great-grandfather, all are there. I can't fight, okay? Don't tell me, please. Don't tell me to fight. Life is exactly like that. Every day is a battlefield where I throw my things and says, I hate teaching, I don't want to teach. I hate studying, I don't want to study. I hate my job, I hate my family, I hate my life. Then Krishna says, you have no choice. You're a warrior, you have to fight. Who are you killing? Don't bother. Who aren't you killing? Don't bother. Why are you fighting? Don't bother. Your job is to do your duty. Are you doing it well? If I'm a teacher, my job is to teach in the class. For me, God is my student. I don't have to go to a temple to search for a God, because here are living gods. Do we enter a classroom with that feeling? Do we do our duty at each point, at home, in the place of work, to ourselves, to others, with that, complete purity? If we do, then nothing can touch us. In our shlokas, there is one called Devi Kavacham. Kavacham means, armor. So you have, when you are going around in the world, the armor of the mother is protecting you. And how can it go wrong? It can go wrong for a small time, we have difficulties. But please remember, a life which is only full of happiness is a very boring life. It's like eating the same thing every day. We don't like, we like variety. If you go to a movie and you find that there is only a hero and heroine, no villain. The hero says, I love you, and sings 2 songs. Heroine says again, I love you, 2 more songs. 10 minutes, movie is finished. Who makes the movie 3 hours? The villain. So remember, in your life, most important are these difficulties. That is what makes your life interesting. That is what makes you mature, strong, brave, because there are difficulties. If you don't have difficulties, that's not a life worth living. Let me tell you, honestly, from my experience, I have certainly more experience than you have in the process of living, because I've lived more number of years than you. And it is when you have difficulties and the difficulties are sorted out, the kind of happiness you get will never come to you when you have no difficulties and therefore you are happy. That's a different thing. All of us make a mistake by searching for happiness. That is the mistake we make, because you don't have to search for happiness. When you accept suffering or sorrow or problems, you are actually accepting happiness. When you avoid sorrow, suffering, difficulty, you are avoiding happiness. There's a saying in English, failures are the stepping stones to success. We want success. Failures are the stepping stones. So if you step on failure, you get success. If you avoid failure, you don't get success. We all know this saying, it's a very popular saying. But we never analyzed it and saw that, you have Ganga here, I was told. There are some stones in there. Success is on the other bank, you are on this bank. Unless you cross that and go, you can't get. But you're scared to step because each one is a failure. It might be slippery rock which you will sink. But unless you take the courage to step on the failure, unless you accept failure, unless you welcome failure, you will never reach success. This requires a lot of courage, don't you think? To say that I want failure, to say that I enjoy failure, to say that I am not moved by sorrow, this takes courage. This is what life has to teach us. Once it does, we have enough mental balance, and you will find that success upon success comes. Professional jealousy is a very common thing. All of us face it. At every point we face it. Suppose you are exceptional only, people are jealous of you. Suppose you are mediocre, nobody is jealous of you. Suppose somebody is stopping you from getting excellence, you immediately think, oh, that means I am very good. Instead of thinking, why am I being stopped, you at least get a self-satisfaction that, people dislike me, or people, oppress me only because I'm good enough. That feeling will see you through to a time when you are getting exceptional things. Okay, don't worry, it happens in everybody's life. It's not you alone. But this shouldn't stop you from being excellent. Wonderful. Yours is a very good question also. Let me say. First of all, when I was talking about leadership as an individual term, I was talking mainly about not leading others, but leading yourself. So the definition you have given applies more to a leader of other people. Unless we are strong ourselves, unless we have, ability to orient ourselves, we can't do others. Today, most of the leadership definitions are leading others. But then look at the crisis of the world. We have leaders who are not good enough because they don't know how to manage themselves. They are managing many others without managing themselves. Everybody says India is a very corrupt country. So how will corruption go? Now we had some incident in Delhi, there was a lot of, emotion. I'm talking about emotional intelligence, let me give this example. But that emotion never gets concretized into action. Earlier there was lots of emotion about Lokpal Bill. I'm sure all of you know all these things. Have you ever heard anybody talking about self-improvement as a solution? They say laws should be very strong. They say, punishment should be very strong. They say we should improve awareness. They should say, capital punishment should be introduced. But nobody said change the mindset of the people. To treat corruption, you can't have, 4 or 5 honest leaders. That doesn't help. Suppose we have 4 honest leaders, does it help? What you need is an individual's mindset. Therefore, I started by leadership at an individual level. I didn't go into the community level of leadership. Leadership has many definitions. What you gave is a wonderful definition, that the leader is always a one who's going that extra mile for the others. Leader is one who's motivating others. In all the traits which I gave, this was only a self-improvement package. Today I'm concentrating mainly on how we can become better, because 150 years of Vivekananda has given us a chance to become Vivekananda. Vivekananda was good, we admit. So can we become like that? In a leadership workshop, I will go into all those details. There are many styles of leadership. You have a democratic style, you have an autocratic style. I didn't touch upon any of these things. The reason I didn't touch upon is that this is not a leadership workshop per se. We have a leadership development program in Hyderabad. I was telling you about our Vivekananda Institute. This goes on for 1 whole year. And it is concentrated only on school children, +2 level children. And you won't believe the kind of exercises we give them and the kind of responses we get at the end of 1 year. It starts off with some 100 children and goes on to the best 4 or best 5. So there, that is important. Okay? But in our self-analysis, in our, self-improvement program, that definition becomes better, that the leader conquers a context. I know, that is an excellent exercise, I think, which we can do. I would rather all of you did it rather than my doing. Would you like me to focus on that again? So that we can have that analysis. Each one of you can, this is one slide, and keep the traits in mind and then give an example. Okay, each of you can give one example so that 8 students will give. Since we have so many of you, we will get many examples per trait. Innovation, willpower, courage, discipline, initiative, commitment, humility, and concentration. Think of one leader and then tell me, or think of one trait for more than one leader, for a single leader many traits, single trait for many leaders, anything is possible. True, but that will be, imposing my thoughts on yours. Fine. Shall we start with some names of leaders? Would you like to give? Remember, I gave an example of cricket. Can you think of any great cricketer who's your favorite?